Hi, I'm Rye. Welcome to or back to my channel. I'm your therapist now.
Disclaimer, Rye has zero qualifications to be an actual therapist.
I'm starting my equestrian therapy series where I basically am going to get in my car, drive somewhere random, and talk about mental health issues that impact equestrians and that this sport doesn't take seriously at all. Today's episode 1, trainers that have traumatized us. I say that with a smile knowing that all of my deep-rooted issues come from my trainer, ex-trainer. We're gonna go get tea from Starbucks. I've been really into tea lately, and I thought that tea and traumatizing trainers went together as a fun little, what's the word? The one with like the letters. This man said, let me drive past your car really slow, and I said, don't do that, please. Before I get started, I do want to talk about my new glasses. They make me feel smart and like I could be a therapist, even though I couldn't because I'm not smart enough. They are from zinff, and they have partnered with me for a little glasses partnership. These are the glasses I got from them. They're their delicate frames, and I got hydrophobic lenses, which I thought were people who really hated water, but no, it's lenses that repel dust and dirt and also have UV protectant, which I thought was pretty snazzy for me because I, like a lot of you who ride horses, are outdoors a lot, and I would prefer my eyes not be damaged by the sun. You can use my code Ryan for 50% off frames and 20% off lenses on their website, and my affiliate link will be below if you would like to go shop their website. Alright, moving on to therapy. Also, I promise while I'm filming this, I am driving just as carefully as I normally am. I feel like I need to emphasize that for my mother who might watch this video. So I've been reflecting a lot recently on just my issues mentally, my trauma, everything in my life that has led to me becoming a giant ball of anxiety and depression. And a lot of it, I have realized, came from my old trainer. I hope she doesn't watch this video, that'd be so awkward. When I was like 6, I went to her barn because a lot of the barns in my area would not allow me to ride because I was so young. So I ended up in this lady's backyard barn, and she was really good to me at first, and then I bought Daisy, who was my first horse, when I was like 8, and everything was okay, and then it kind of just started going downhill. The barn was really small, and it was mostly adults, and they would drink a lot of alcohol. You know, maybe that was a red flag, that they would drink alcohol during the day while a child was on a horse. I was like 8 to 10 years old at this point, and if I would be there on the days that they were drinking, generally there would be fat jokes or inappropriate jokes made about me, or I would be shamed because I was a very fearful rider at that age. My old trainer never really trained me, so I kind of learned on my own, and then I became very fearful because obviously I wasn't riding correctly. So generally, if I were there when they were drinking, I would be forced to do things that I was uncomfortable with because they would tell me that I was being a little bitch if I didn't want to do that thing. Sir, I'm going. I don't know what you're doing. Excuse my language, but that's what they would say to me, so I'm just being real. And then it kind of escalated more to where she would yell at me to the point where I would have like hysterical crying fits or panic attacks, one of which I remember resulted in me throwing up in the back of my car, and those were like my first panic attacks were caused by her. The worst memory I have was probably when she got drunk, and I was like 10 probably, and she shot me in the back with a BB gun and then laughed about it while I was crying. That was not fun. And after that, I kind of just like would try to avoid going there when they were drinking, and I would never go there alone without like my mom, and I was just really afraid and uncomfortable to be there at all times, but I still went because I loved my horse and I didn't want to not be with my horse. But at the time, my family, we were having financial difficulties. This barn was very inexpensive, and it was like the only one we could really afford to be at. So it was kind of have your horse but be emotionally abused, or don't have your horse, and I chose to have my horse. You know, my situation was very different from some other people's because it was such a small barn and there was no like regulation, I guess. So my trainer kind of could just like be drunk and shoot me and nothing would happen because it was a tiny barn and it was just kind of like not that big of a deal. And we didn't really go to competitions or anything, and USEF and Safe Sport and all that wasn't a thing at that barn. So anyway, there's there's my trauma. And then I was reflecting on this a lot. I've been reflecting on it a lot, probably like the past 6 months. I've just been really like trying to figure out why I have so many issues and why I've been struggling so badly with my mental health. But I was reflecting a lot, so I made a TikTok. I'll just insert the TikTok. Here's the TikTok. So I would like to hear about a time that a trainer or an adult at your barn made you feel uncomfortable or unsafe, or made you feel badly about yourself. And people commented and said that they were body shamed by trainers or pushed way out of their comfort zone. I realized, well, like, this isn't just a me thing, this is an entire sport problem. A ton of people in this sport, a ton of kids in this sport are being traumatized by people who are supposed to be mentors and who are supposed to be good to them and train them how to ride correctly and love the sport. And then I did another video, I'll insert that one here. So I'm very much convinced that in this sport as an equestrian, you literally will never fit the beauty standard no matter how hard you try. When I was younger, my old trainer made fat jokes about me when I was like a size 8, right? But now I'm like a size 2 to 4 and I'm told that I'm too skinny and I need to go build muscle. So what does this sport want from us exactly? Like, I'm genuinely curious. I would really like to know. I missed the turn, you guys. I meant to go to a different Starbucks. Oh man, I guess I could make a U-turn. All right, guys, I'm pulling a little Yui action. What was I saying? Oh yeah, other people had said that they were fat shamed by trainers or adults at their barn as well. And then I realized again, wow, this is like a widespread issue. Like, we need to address how terribly trainers can be allowed to treat their students. Basically, TikTok helped me realize that we are all a little traumatized and we need to work on that as a sport. People struggle in this sport so much with mental health, and this sport, like USEF and the governing bodies and everything, and everyone don't really do anything about it, and just like in society, people don't really like to talk about it. So I just want to raise awareness. I don't know that we'll actually do that much. I know that my channel's not that big, and I know that obviously this video isn't going to solve everything, but I would like to help. And I want to say that if you have ever been fat shamed or body shamed or treated badly or told that you're not good enough by your trainer or anybody else in the sport, you are so good enough. You are so amazing. And the fact that you got through being treated like that is amazing itself. And I'm so sorry that you went through that, because I know exactly how it feels, and it's awful. And it's awful to just want to do the sport that you love and not be able to do it in peace. And it's terrible to want to go to the barn but not want to go because it's such a toxic environment. Because all you want is to be with your horse and to ride your horse, and you can't do that without being afraid or without feeling awful about yourself. I know that my experiences in this sport, not all of my experience, my barn now is great. People there treat me so well. My trainer is amazing. But my experiences at my old barn and everything, they definitely contributed a lot to my anxiety issues, and they're 100% the reason that I never feel like I'm good enough for anyone ever. I was made to feel like I wasn't good enough, and I still believe that to this day. And I know that so many people in this sport were made to feel that way, and I'm so sorry if you were ever told that you weren't good enough, because you so are good enough. And I'm so sorry that that happened to you, because it feels awful. When trainers treat you badly, it's such a weird feeling, because you feel like you're supposed to respect them and appreciate what they do for you, and then they treat you terribly, but you believe that they're right when they tell you that you're terrible, because you think you're supposed to believe that they're right because they're supposed to be teaching you. Hang on, because we're gonna go get tea from Starbucks. Why aren't they moving up there? Okay, there's literally so much space to move up, and they just like were not doing it, and I really would like to get out of the way. As soon as I order my tea, we will talk about ways that you can cope with and help yourself feel better after going through this trauma, because it's an awful feeling, I know, and it's so hard to deal with it, especially if you don't have a therapist. Personally, I don't go to therapy. I should, but I'm afraid of it. I'm very busy. I'm a working student, and if you're a working student, you know that you're at the barn all the time and you kind of just don't have time, and if you want to accomplish your dreams, you kind of have to run yourself into the ground. There's that. That'll be on another episode of this, you know, overworking and the pressure to perform, you know, all that. I already have that episode planned, don't worry. And I also don't want to pay for therapy, and I don't want to ask my parents to. Like, I know that it's worth paying for because it's your mental health, but at the same time, like, I've lived this long and I'm coping, so I don't want to go, you know, and I know that that's not the right instinct. I know that I should want to go, but I don't, and I'm scared of it, and as of right now, I don't go. And if you also don't go, then these videos are kind of made to help you. Or if you do go and you just want to feel like you're not alone, because you're not alone. Can I get a grande iced peach green tea? That's it. Thank you. Do you have a good one? You too. You guys, I'm a little embarrassed. I did not put my mask on, and normally when I go through drive-thrus, I do that for the safety of the workers, and then I was so caught up filming this video that I forgot, and then I felt really bad. Ooh, this is bomb. Okay, now talking about ways that you can cope and feel better that I have personally done. First of all, get a new barn or a new trainer. I know it's easier said than done. I know that it's super scary. When I moved barns, I was so afraid for so many reasons. One, I was scared that it would be the same environment. Two, it was a more expensive barn, so that was also scary. Three, what else was I scared of? Oh, that my old trainer would be really awful to me when I told her that I was leaving, which it actually went over pretty well, surprisingly, but she was also sober, so. But find a new barn and a new trainer. Not all barns are going to be the same toxic environment, and you deserve to be treated well. Reflect on the experiences that you had. I know you might not want to, but like for me, I suppressed it for a long time. And then when I started reflecting on it, I realized why I feel the way that I do sometimes, and it made me feel so much better and so much more legitimate to myself, if that makes sense. Because sometimes when you have these thoughts of like self-doubt or anxiety, it doesn't make sense why you're feeling that way. But if you reflect on the way that other people have made you feel, especially if you have these traumatic experiences like this, it really helps to make sense of why you feel the way that you do. Also, make sure that the things that you've been told, the negative things that you've been told by bad trainers or bad influences in this sport, aren't just echoing in your head all the time, because for me, they definitely are. Alright, I guess I'm parking here. So make sure that it's just not echoing in your brain, and it's not, your experiences aren't convincing you that you're a bad rider or that you're not good enough, because you are. And it can be so easy to let your experiences convince you that you aren't. Also, medication. I take Prozac every day for my anxiety. If you think that you have legitimate like mental illness or mental health issues that you think could be better with medication, and you don't have a problem with taking medication, I would 100% go talk to a doctor. Because since starting Prozac, and I'm on a pretty low dose, but since starting it, I really have felt better. Not 100%, you know, obviously I still have issues, obviously. Also, I take these thingies. I get them at Sprouts. They're these little homeopathic thingies by Bow Iron, and they relieve nervousness. And they have a lot of different types of these that have all kinds of different powers, I guess. There's the brand right there. And they're just these little, they're just little round thingies. You put them under your tongue and you just let them dissolve, and then you feel better. And I think they really do help, and they're homeopathic, so they're not like drugs, which I know some people are uncomfortable with prescription drugs, so if you are, these might be a good alternative to look into. The last thing that I think is super important is that you remember what you love about this sport outside of the things that have happened to you. Like, remember why you went through what you went through just to be able to ride. The bottom line, you love the sport and you shouldn't give up. Lastly, my DMs are always open. The comments are always open. If you want to talk to me about issues that you're having in the sport, mentally, literally anything, I'm always here for you guys. You can totally reach out to me whenever you need help, because I always want to be here for you guys. Mwah. Love you. Camera hug. That is all for this video, and I hope you guys are feeling a little better. I'm feeling a little bit better, so that's good. You're all amazing, and I want you to remember that.